Everybody talks about their offense, but obviously defense looks improved from what we've seen out of Oklahoma the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'd say very much improved. I watched a couple games from last year, watching this year. They're playing really hard. The scheme that they have is very similar to what Vic does with all the movement and slants and guys moving around a lot, and they got really good players. The number 90, the Gallimore kid, has changed his body. They've done a good job. He plays really hard. He's going to be a tough block up front. He's going to be a guy that's going to get a chance to be drafted early. So it's going to be a challenge for us. But defensively, they're playing really hard right now, and they're really fast. And they do some really good things on defense. So they've definitely gotten better.
Matt, how does a team get 9 sacks in one game?
Ooh. I like the way you said the way they get them, and not so I don't give them up. I mean, they just they just play really hard, and like I said, they move a lot. They do a lot of picks, a lot of twists up front, and they got really good ball get off. They do a good job using their personnel, using their linebackers to come off the edge as speed rushers, and it's just they create chaos. That's what they do is they create chaos because everybody tries to game plan them to block. Try to get two hats on some of their D linemen, and when you do that, you create some confusion up front, and then that's when things like that happen. And, they get ahead. The big thing is they get ahead because on offense, and then they cause you to have to throw the ball to try to have a chance to win, and that's when you end up with all those sacks when you're in a passing situation every down, and they know it, and they can come after you. That's what happens in those kind of games when you give up that many sacks.
Matt, where are things going wrong for you guys in the run game? It seems like every week it's a bit of a struggle to kind of get that going. And is it any particular thing?
Well, no, it's really several things. It's whether we do something incorrect up front, get on the wrong hat, or whether the tight end or fullback doesn't fit the right thing, or maybe the running back makes the wrong read. You can't really just put it on. You go back and watch the film. We had 25 runs, and 5 of those runs were negative run plays, and all 5 of those. 2 of them up front was us. One of them was a tight end, and then 2 of them were the running backs where they made the wrong read, and that's those are the things that you got different points. People like we said last week, not from a discipline standpoint, not doing the right thing every single time, and we're not talented enough right now to overcome that kind of stuff, And then you get behind and you start trying to throw the ball more and not run the ball as much as you should. So there's a little bit of that too.
Where does inexperience play a role in those problems?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, Bryson Mays, he battled. We knew going into the week it was going to be a tough sledding for him versus the nose guard, and the nose guard was really good. And he struggled. He had some plays, and it's hard to run the ball in the middle, when you can't handle the nose guard. So, we're going to have the same problem this week. We got to figure out a way to get him help and be able to handle the number 90 in there. So that's kind of where it goes to is you got to figure out where you're going to put the ball. When they know you're running it outside, all of a sudden they start setting edges on you. And anytime you're trying to run the ball outside and you get tackled for loss, it's a 4-yard loss. And you get behind the chains and you don't have the personnel right now to overcome that. You don't have that guy that's an eraser that, you can throw it to him and get your 8 yards and get back on track. So, we just got to continue to be, it'll pay off in the long run because we do have to be very precise right now in everything we do. We can't make those mistakes. So we just got to keep coaching them to not make those mistakes.
So you just kind of help them along until they turn the corner?
Yes, that's what you got to do. You got until we get big enough and strong enough up front to where we can handle people one-on-one and be more consistent in the run game where we're getting 4 yards every time we run the ball and not just trying to get back to the line of scrimmage,
You mentioned Kentucky. He dealt with a similar situation with freshmen. Have you had an instance where that's been the same? Was that also?
Yeah, no doubt. When I went to Troy, I had my center was a defensive lineman that we moved to offensive line, and he was a prep school kid, and the kid ended up being all conference 3 years in a row. But the first 2 years it was bad. It was tough. Watching him grow into that. And right now I got a couple guys that are working on that are having to grow into that role, and that's where Bryson is right now. He works his butt off. He studies hard. He's in the weight room every day, but he's just hadn't physically matured into a Big 12 center that he has to be right now.
How do you explain Kennedy McCoy not reaching the level that it looked like he was going to reach as far as both pass catching and running the ball?
I really can't explain that. I can't. I put that more on to Coach Brown and let him kind of talk about that a little bit. But I really don't have enough of a relationship in that room to speak of why or why not he's reaching the potential that he needs to reach.
Speaking of relationships, you've known Lincoln for a long time. Just talk about that a little bit. You know, your years at Texas Tech.
Yeah. When I went out to Texas Tech, that was his first year being a full-time coach. He was maybe 23 years old. Really young, and we spent a lot of time together. Went on vacation, and I know Lincoln really well. We talk a good bit, and he's very articulate. He's very similar to Coach Brown. Their personalities are very similar. They're very detail-oriented and very driven people, and we don't talk as much as we used to since I got here. Because it's just kind of one of those things. But when we talk, we don't talk much about football. But,
wildest dreams, could you imagine him being the coach at Oklahoma this young in his career?
No, I did not. I didn't see that coming. I knew he was going to be a really good coach. He's a really good offensive coach, and he's really surprised me at how well he's handled everything. And he's very mature for his age, in the way he handles everything. So he's really impressed me with the way he handles himself and handles the team.
Where'd you guys go on vacation?
We went to Jamaica. We went to Jamaica and hung out. That's before he had any children, and it was my wife and I. And we had a good time.
With Kendall's situation still being up in the air, practice reps change for quarterbacks this week? I think you said 80-20 before. Do you get Jack Allison more? What do you do?
Well, it's just going to depend a lot on how he comes out today. He's down there throwing today, so we'll see what happens when he comes out before practice. And we got a plan ready if he can't, and we got a plan ready if he can.
One more on Lincoln. What is it about the Mike Leach system that's created the creative coaches that have come out of that deal with all of you guys, kind of?
I don't know. It's with Mike, it's kind of crazy because it's just you start looking at all the people with even going back to like Chris Hatcher at Sanford, and Hatcher and I played together for Mummy and for Leach, and there's such a big cradle of coaches that I don't know if it's just the love of the game, how he always makes it fun. He's always, that's kind of the way he did it. It was always fun, and it was never a grind. So I really don't know just the offensive side of the ball. He had such a creative offensive mind with the way he did everything, and it just made the game fun.
Matt, your explanation Saturday was that the game plan during the week was kind of specific to Austin, and you kind of had to ditch that a little bit when you put somebody else in. This week, would you have the same, handcuffs if Austin can't go and you got to put in plan B with Jack or Trey or Jack?
Yeah, but we'll make sure. Whoever is going to be the starting guy is going to get the reps, and they're going to know the game plan, and they're going to know the specifics of the formations and the motions and the burst plays and things like that we do that they need to get reps in. So we're going to, like I said, the decision will be made pretty soon as far as who's going to be able to go. And when Coach Brown, we'll pull out the game plan for that guy and what he knows best and what he understands and what he can what he can go out there and accomplish. That's what we'll work on today.
Do you have a sense of what Beatonbaugh has done? I know you study defenses, right? But there's probably a clique of you O-line coaches that respect what each other's done.
Oh yeah, I went up there when we were at I guess it was the year before last at Troy. I went there and spent a couple days and talked ball and just went through schemes and all that stuff. He does a really good job. He was at Texas Tech before I got there, and so he just does. He's a fundamental guy. That's what he teaches, and he does a really good job of fundamentals, and he recruits really good players. And if you can have a bunch of really good players that are really fundamental, you're going to be pretty good. I think he had 4 of his 5 guys drafted last year. That says a lot about how he does things, how he recruits, and how he develops players. So he's done a really good. I really respect the job that he's done up there.
How much those visits always intrigue me because are they really going to show you everything behind the curtain, or and obviously Troy and Oklahoma weren't going to play?
Yeah, and that's not a problem. We were all good enough friends where they didn't have a problem with that. There's no. There's no hiding a bunch of stuff. You don't go into signals or cadence or stuff like that really, you don't want anybody else to know. But as far as plays, and we all run the same plays, it's just the way of teaching things is huge. That's what I try to learn anywhere I go is like, how do you teach that? How do you teach all these multiple things to these guys and get them to understand it and fundamentals and scheme and all that. So that's what I'm always about is how do you teach?
Building blocks type of stuff.
Yeah.